ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
नित्यं भागवत
भागवत
सेवया
सेवया
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse 24-25. एकदा धनुरुद्यम्य
एकदा
एकदा
धनुरुद्यम्य
धनुरुद्यम्य
विचरन् मृगयान् वने
विचरन्
विचरन्
मृगयां
मृगयान्
वने
वने
मृगान् अनुगतश्रान्त
मृगाननुगतः शान्तः
क्षुदितस्त्रिष्टो भृशम्
क्षुधिष्ठितो भृशम्
क्षुधिक्षुधिभृशम्
जलाशयम् अचक्षान
जलाशयम्
जलाशयम्
अयच्छान
अचक्षान्
प्रविवेश तमाश्रमम्
प्रविवेश
प्रविवेशतमाश्रमम्
तमाश्रमम्
ददर्श मुनिम् आसीनम्
ददर्श
ददर्शमुनिम्
मुनिमासीनम्
आसीनम्
शान्तं मीलितलोचनम्
शान्तमीलितलोचनम्
शान्तमीलितलोचनम्
एकदा धनुरुद्यम्य
एकदा
एकदा
धनुरुद्यम्य
धनुरुद्यम्य
तालवा बंद कर दी है।
विचरन् मृगयान् वने
विचरन्
विचरन्
मृगयां
मृगयां वने
वने
मृगान् अनुगतः श्रान्त
मृगाय अनुगता श्रान्ता
क्षुदितस्तृषितो भृशम्
क्षुधिस्तस्त्रिष्टो भृशम्
जलाशयम् अचक्षान
जलाशयम् अचक्षान
अचक्षान
प्रविवेश तम् आश्रमम्
प्रविवेश
प्रविवेश
तमाश्रमम्
तमाश्रमम्
ददर्श मुनिमासीनम्
ददर्श
ददर्शमुनिम् आसीनम्
मुनिमासीनम्
शान्तम् मीलितलोचनम्
शान्तमीलितलोचनम्
शान्तमीलितलोचनम्
एकदा धनुरुद्यम्य
एकदा
एकदा धनुरुद्यम्य
धनुरुद्यम्य
विचरन् मृगयान् वने
विचरन्
विचरन्
मृगयां
मृगयां वने
वने
मृगाननुगतः श्रान्त
मृगाननुगता
मृगाननुगतश्रान्तः
श्रान्ता
क्षुदितस्त्रिषितो भृशम्
क्षुधितस्पृष्टो
क्षुधितस्तुभृतम्
भृशम्
जलाशयम् चक्षान
जलाशयम्
जलाशयमचक्षान
अचक्षान
प्रविवेश तमाश्रमम्
प्रविवेशतमाश्रमम्
प्रविवेशतमाश्रमम्
ददर्श मुनिमासीनम्
ददर्श
ददर्शमुनिमासीनम्
मुनिमासीनम्
शान्तम् मीलितलोचनम्.
शान्तं
शान्तं
मीलितलोचनम्
मीलितलोचनम्
Anyone read on?
एकदा धनुरुद्यम्य
ekada
एकदा
udhyamya
विचरन् मृगयां वने
vicharam
विचरन्
vicharan
मृगयां
mrigayam mane
मृगान् अनुगत श्रान्त
mriganu
मृगाननुगत श्रान्त
Mriganurgata
क्षुदितस्त्रिषितो भृशम्
chuditas
क्षुदितस्त्रिषितो
bhritam
जलाशयम् अकाशान
jalasayam chakshana
प्रविवेशातमाश्रमम्
pravivesha tamasramam
प्रविवेशातमाश्रमम् ददर्श मुनिम् आशीनम्
dadarsham
ददर्श
unimasinam
मुनिमासीनं शान्तं मिलितलोचनम्
shantam
शान्तं
militalocanam.
मिलितलोचनम्
Translation and purport by John Grace Avatar in the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
jai
Synonyms. Ekada, once upon a time.
ekada
एकदा once
once
upon a
upon a
time
time
Dhanu, arrows and bow.
धनु
dhanu
arrows and bow
Udyamya, taking firmly.
उद्यम्य
udyamya
taking
taking
firmly
firmly
Vicharan, following.
vicharan
विचरण following
following
Mrigayam, hunting excursion.
मृगयाम
mrigayam
hunting excursion
Vane, in the forest.
bane
वने
in the
in the
forest
forest
Mrigan, stags.
mrigan
मृगान
stays
stags
Anugata, while following.
अनुगत
anugata
while
while
following
following
Srantha, fatigued.
Shranta
shranta
fatigue
fatigued
Kshuditha, hungry.
shuddhita
Shuddhita
hungry
Trushita, being thirsty.
trishita
Trishita
being
being thirsty
thirsty
Vrisham, extremely.
vrisham
Vrisham extremely
extremely
Jala Ashrayam, a reservoir of water.
jala
Jala
ashayam reservoir of
reservoir
water
of water
Achakshana, while searching for.
akakshana
Akakshana
while
while
searching
searching
for
for
Pravivesha entered into.
pravivesha
Pravivesha
entered
entered
into
into
Tham, that famous.
tam
Tam
that
that
famous
famous
Ashramam, heritage of Samika Rishi.
ashramam
ashramam
hermitage of Shamika
Rishi
Rishi
Dadarsha, saw.
Dadarsha
Dadarsha
saw
saw
Munim, the sage.
Munim the
Munim
sage
the sage
Asinam, seated.
Asinam
Asinam
seated
Shantam, all silent.
Shantam all silent
Milita, closed.
Milita
Milita
closed
Lochanam, eyes.
Lochanam
Lochanam
eyes
eyes
Translation, please repeat after me. Once upon a time, Maharaja Parikshit,
Once
Once
upon
upon
a
a
time
time,
Maharaja
Maharaja
Parikshit
Parikshit,
while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows,
while
while
engaged in
engaged
the
in
hunting
hunting in
of
the
the
forest
with
with
bow and
bow and
arrows
arrows,
became extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty while following the stags.
became
became
extremely
extremely
fatigued
fatigued, hungry,
and
and
thirsty
thirsty
while
while
following
following
the
the
stage.
stags.
While searching for a reservoir of water,
While
While searching
searching for
for
a
a
reservoir
reservoir
of
of
water,
water,
he entered the hermitage of the well known Samika Rishi
he
he
entered the
entered the
hermitage of the
hermitage of
well-known
the
Samika
well-known
Rishi
Chinook Rishi
and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes.
and saw
and
the
saw the
sage
sage
sitting
sitting silently
silently with
with
closed
closed eyes.
eyes.
Purport.
The Supreme Lord is so kind to his pure devotees that in proper time he calls such devotees up to him and thus creates an auspicious circumstance for the devotee. Maharaja Parikshit was a pure devotee of the Lord, and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty just to create a situation favorable for his renunciation of worldly activities. One has to give up all attachment for worldly relations before one is able to go back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. The Supreme Lord never forgets his pure devotee, even though he may be engaged in so called worldly affairs. Sometimes he creates an awkward situation, and the devotee becomes obliged to renounce all worldly affairs. The devotee can understand by the signal of the Lord, but others take it to be unfavorable and frustrating. Maharaja Parikshit was to become the medium for the revelation of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Shri Krishna, as his grandfather Arjuna was the medium for the Bhagavad Gita. Had Arjuna not been taken up with an illusion of family affection by the will of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken by the Lord himself for the good of all concerned. Similarly, had Maharaja Parikshit not been fatigued, hungry, and thirsty at this time, Srimad Bhagavatam would not have been spoken by Srila Shukadev Goswami, the prime authority of Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken for the benefit of all concerned. The, the prelude therefore begins with the words once upon a time.
Jai. हरि ओं तत्सतमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमो आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरकथाधामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः हरे गोपाल गोविंद राम श्रीमधुसूदनाम। मुकाम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिमत् कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। So very beautiful purport and the words. Here, Maharaja Parikshit became extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty. This is actually impossible for a devotee. A devotee is never forgotten by Krishna. Even though the devotee is engaged in some other activities, sometimes in the material activities, but Krishna never forgets because Krishna is directly taking care of his devotees. That's the only job Krishna does. Otherwise, Krishna has no work. But this devotee care, he has voluntarily taken. He is not giving that to anybody. He personally only wants to take care of devotee. He loves to do that, and he does that at all time, at all circumstances, at all places and time and space, and in everywhere. He does that. So that is the kindness of Lord Krishna. He is very, very kind. And he particularly creates auspicious situations for the devotees all the time. So what is auspicious is the auspiciousness for the devotee to become close to Krishna, to be in his service, to the service of Krishna. That is the most auspicious because that is the most blissful one can ever experience. It's greater than Brahmananda, it's greater than Paramananda, it is greater than any Ananda, that is Sevananda. So when someone is engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, there is no bliss that you get can be equal to anything, any other kind of blissfulness. You know, the most blissfulness is when you are engaged in the service of Lord Sri Krishna. And Krishna directly engaging his devotee, he has the right to put his devotee either in trouble or in auspiciousness, but it's always better for all. So Krishna has selected Arjuna to speak Bhagavad Gita. So what did Krishna do? Krishna created an auspicious situation in Arjuna's life. How? By putting him in illusion. That as if he is illusioned and he is lamenting for his relatives, his gurus, his forefathers, his seniors, his other relatives, and his sons and grandsons. So like that, everybody he found to be relative, and he has to wage the war to kill them to enjoy the throne. So he thought that why should I kill my own relatives, and if I kill all my relatives, with whom shall I share my enjoyment? No, this is not good, so I will not fight. So like that, Arjuna was forcibly put into illusion by the will of the Lord Krishna. Why? Because Krishna has decided to start a new parampara by giving this Bhagavad Gita, and he has selected Arjuna to be the first student of his Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna is a friend and the devotee. So this is how Krishna cares. He cares everybody through his devotees, and his devotees he takes direct care. So in this way, he selected Arjuna for speaking Bhagavad Gita, and that is how we have got the Bhagavad Gita as it is today. Similarly, he has also selected Arjuna's grandson Parikshit Maharaj so that we can get Srimad Bhagavatam. So today, the science of Krishna means Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is called science of Krishna. And anyone who knows the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master and initiate disciples. This is the verdict of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this science of Krishna is revealed to us by the mercy of Krishna through Arjuna as well as Parikshit Maharaj. So this is not an ordinary event that Parikshit Maharaj is feeling thirsty, hungry, and fatigued. This is impossible for a devotee. A devotee is always in bliss in the service of Krishna, and Krishna forcibly make him like that. That means Krishna is using him as an instrument to fulfill Krishna's desire. This is what a devotee should do, that he should fulfill Krishna's desire. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So only Krishna selects those devotees who are Anya Abhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Siranam Bhakti Uttama. So Krishna selects only Uttama Bhaktas to be engaged to save the whole world. Like Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. So they have been selected by Krishna to save the whole world. Arjuna and Parikshit Maharaj have been selected to give the science of Krishna knowledge to the whole world and teaching devotion service to the whole world. Because of Parikshit Maharaj, we have got the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because of Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam, who is the prime authority of the Bhagavatam. And because of Arjuna, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So this is our very, very wonderful events actually what's happening here. That is why it is called a pastime. This is not a history. This is pastime. So this is eternal pastime because it is in relationship with Krishna. You see, a devotee feeling fatigued, a devotee feeling thirsty is also for Krishna. Just imagine how much surrender is that devotee. His feeling hungry is for Krishna. We are thinking we are eating for Krishna, but he is feeling hungry also for Krishna. He is feeling thirsty for Krishna. He is fatigued for Krishna. This is called Paripurna surrender, 100% surrender to Lord Krishna. This is how a devotee should be. Excellent example, this Arjuna and this Parikshit Maharaj. And science of Krishna is revealed today just because of these two personalities. So such is the glory of the devotee that Krishna depends on them. Krishna uses them as he wishes, and Krishna cares for them all the time. Krishna never forgets them. And Krishna's kindness to all the living entities exhibited through these pure devotees whom Krishna is carrying directly. So let's go to the next verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse 26. Pratiruddhendriya prana
Pratiruddhendriya prana
Manobuddhim uparatam
Manobuddhim uparatam
Anatrayat param praptam
Anatrayat param praptam
Brahma bhutam avikriyam
Brahma bhutam avikriyam
Pratiruddhendriya prana
Pratiruddhendriya prana
Manobuddhim uparatam.
manobuddhim
Manobuddhimuparadam
uparatam
Sthanatrayat param praptam.
asthanatya
Stanatrayat param praptam
Brahma bhutam avikriyam.
brahma
Brahma
bhutam
bhutam
abhikriyam
avikriyam
Pratiruddhendriya prana.
pratiruddhendriya
Pratiruddhendriya
prana
prana
Manobuddhim uparatam.
manobuddhim
Manobuddhimuparadam
uparatam
Sthanatrayat param praptam.
asthanatya
Stanatrayat param
param
praptam
praptam
Brahma bhutam avikriyam.
brahma
Brahma
bhutam
bhutam
abhikriyam.
avikriyam
Sorry, one person can recite once.
Pratiruddhe indriya prana
Pratiruddhendriya
Pratiruddhendriya
prana.
prana
manobuddhim uparatam
Manobuddhim uparatam.
Manobuddhimuparadam
asthanatryat param praptam
Stanastrayat param
Stanatrayat param
praptam.
praptam
brahma bhutam abhikriyam.
Brahma
Brahma
bhutam
bhutam
avikriyam.
avikriyam
Synonyms. Pratiruddha, restraint.
Pratiruddha restraint
Indriya, the sense organs.
Indriya
Indriya,
the sense
sense
organ
organ.
Prana, air of respiration.
Prana,
Prana
air
air
of
of
respiration.
respiration
Mana, the mind.
Mana,
Mana
the
the
mind.
mind
Buddhim, intelligence.
Buddhim,
Buddhim
intelligence.
intelligence
Uparatam, inactive.
Uparatam,
Uparatam
active.
inactive
Thana, places.
Sthana,
Sthana
places.
places
Trayat, from the three.
Trayat,
Trayat from
from
the
the
three
three.
Param, transcendental.
Param,
Param transcendental
transcendental.
Praptam, achieved.
Praptam,
Praptam
achieved.
achieved
Brahma Bhutam, qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute.
Brahma
Brahma
Bhutam
Bhutam,
qualitatively equal
qualitatively
with the
equal with
Supreme
the
Absolute
Supreme Absolute.
Avikriyam, unaffected.
Avikriyam unaffected
Avikriyam.
Translation, please repeat after me. The Muni's sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities.
The Muni's sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities,
And he was situated in a trance apart from the three wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness.
and he was situated in a trance apart from the three wakeful dream and consciousness.
Having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute.
Having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute.
Purport.
It appears that the Muni, in whose hermitage the king entered, was in yogic trance. The transcendental position is attained by three processes, namely the process of jnana or theoretical knowledge of transcendence, the process of yoga or factual realization of trance by manipulation of the psychological, physiological, and psychological functions of the body, and the most approved process of bhakti yoga, or the engagement of senses in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, also we have the information of the gradual development of perception from matter to a living entity. Our material mind and body developed from the living entity, the soul, and being influenced by the three qualities of matter. We forget our real identity. The Jnana process theoretically speculates about the reality of the soul, but Bhakti Yoga factually engages the spirit soul in activity. The perception of matter is transcended to still subtler states of the senses. The senses are transcended to the subtler mind, and then to breathing activities and gradually to intelligence. Beyond the intelligence, the living soul is realized by the mechanical activities of the yoga system, by practice of meditation, restraining the senses, regulating the breathing system, and applying intelligence to rise to the transcendental position. The stance stops all material activities of the body. The king saw the Muni in that position. He also saw the Muni as follows.
Hari Om Tat Sat. So here the Muni's position is written when Parikshit Maharaj entered the Samike Rishi's Muni's ashram in such a fatigued, extremely fatigued and thirsty and hungry situation. He was actually not looking for Muni or ashram, he was looking for a reservoir of water to drink some water, that's all. But Krishna has arranged in such a way that he has encountered not a reservoir, rather Samike Muni's ashram. And when he saw that Samike Muni's ashram, he entered, he thought that, okay, I can have some water here. And then what happens? The Muni's organ, Muni was in trance. So the trance, Prabhupada is writing very beautifully, can be achieved through three processes: Jnana, Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So the Jnana is theoretically you are achieving by speculating about the Lord. And the Yoga is the Ashtanga Siddhi Yoga by, controlling the senses and experiencing through. And Bhakti Yoga is the most sublime way, most easiest way, and the most powerful method and 100% guaranteed success method. Even the Jnana and other Ashtanga Yoga need to be successful. They have to do touch Bhakti Yoga, at least Karma Misra Bhakti, Jnana Misra Bhakti, they have to do. Otherwise, they cannot achieve perfection in the Jnana and other processes. But Bhakti Yoga from the beginning it is a successful step because there is no process to become success. The step itself is success. The process itself is a success. So the conclusion of all the Jnana and other Ashtanga Yoga and Karma, everything coming to the Bhakti Yoga only. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are starting itself from Bhakti Yoga, which means we have already crossed all the Jnanis, Yogis and Karmis and everybody. And we are on the top class platform. So performing devotional service unto Krishna without any reservations, without any interruptions is the way of achieving the 100% successfulness. So the trance can be achieved. In this particular Bhakti Yoga, we feel the ecstasy. Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has shared the ecstatic symptom in performing devotional service to all of us without discriminating as to who is qualified, who is not qualified. He has given the love first and you feel the ecstasy after you practice it, the devotional service. So in this way, he has very beautifully given freely to all, one and all, to experience the Mahabhava taste that he was experiencing. He also wanted to share the same thing with every jiva here. This has never happened before, nor there is any expectation to happen it again in the future. So this is a very rarest of rare opportunity that we have got here. We should take full advantage of that so that we can also be used as an instrument by Lord Sri Krishna, just like Krishna is using Parikshit Maharaj and Arjuna. So that marks our life successful. So trance can be had very easily by performing devotional service. Here Samike Rishi is in trance by controlling the senses through the yoga processes and he is meditating on the super soul or Krishna, and in this way he was in trance. So he is not connecting to anything material. He is completely situated in the transcendental position. So he doesn't know what's happening here, whether Parikshit Maharaj came, he is doing something, he is speaking something. Nothing will be experienced by this Samike Rishi because he is fully in trance and he is with the Supreme Lord. He is with the Supreme Lord, qualitatively one. That means he is seeing himself and the Lord, himself as a subordinate to the Lord, as a servant of the Lord, and he is seeing also the Lord. So he is fully situated in the transcendental blissfulness. At this moment, our Parikshit Maharaj has entered. So this is the Leela of Krishna. See, Krishna is using always devotee to devotee. One devotee is meditating on Krishna and another devotee, Krishna was thinking to use him to give the welfare to one and all, to the whole world. So it's a very beautiful pastime. So we'll go to the next. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto chapter 18, verse 27. Viprakirna jatha channam
Viprakrtirnachannam
Rauravena jinena cha
Rauravena jinena cha
Vishushyatalurudakam
Vishusya talurudakam
Tatha bhutam ayachata.
tatha bhutam ayachata
Viprakirna jatha channam.
Viprakirna jata channam
Rauravena jinena cha.
Rauravena dinena cha
Vishushyatalurudakam.
Vishusya talurudakam
Tatha bhutam ayachata.
Tatha bhutam ayachata
Viprakirna jatha channam.
Viprakirna jata channam
Rauravena jinena cha.
Rauravena dinena cha
Vishushyatalurudakam.
Vishusya talurudakam
Tatha bhutam ayachata.
Tatha bhutam ayachata
One can recite once.
Viprakirna jatachanam
Viprakirna jatha channam.
Rauravena jinena cha
Rauravena jinena cha.
Vishusyatalurudakam
Vishushyatalurudakam.
Tatha bhutam ayachata.
Tatha bhutam ayachata. Synonyms. Viprakirna, all scattered.
Viprakirna, all scattered.
Jatta achannam, covered with compressed long hair.
Jatta achanam, covered with compressed long hair.
Rauravena, by the skin of a stag.
Rauravena, by the skin of a stag.
Ajinena, by the skin.
Ajinena, by the skin.
Cha, also.
Cha, also.
Vishushya, the dried up.
Vishushya, dried up.
Taluhu, pilot.
Talu, pilot.
Udakam, water.
Udakam, water.
Tata bhutam, in that state.
Tatha bhutam, in that state.
Ayachata, asked for.
Ayachata, asked for.
Translation, please repeat after me. The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag.
The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag,
And long compressed hair was scattered all over him.
and long compressed hair was scattered all over him.
The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water.
The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water.
Purport.
Purport. The king, being thirsty, asked the sage for water. That such a great devotee and king asked for water from a sage absorbed in trance was certainly provincial. Otherwise, there was no chance of such a unique happening. Maharaja Parikshit was thus placed in an awkward position so that gradually Srimad Bhagavatam could be revealed.
Hari Om Tat Sat. So Krishna's plan is very supreme and it is always aimed at welfare of all. And for that, his devotees are helping him. So Parikshit Maharaj here is totally used by Lord Sri Krishna. Otherwise, yet who is already a devotee, Samiki Rishi in trance, and Parikshit Maharaj is another pure devotee, and he is such an emperor of the entire globe, I mean entire Bhuloka. So he coming and asking for water is not an ordinary event. It doesn't happen, it never happened, nor will it happen. It is a pastime, it's a leela, it's a special occurrence, and Parikshit Maharaj has been put by Lord Krishna in the awkward position so that today we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna's vision is so fair and wide. He wants to give us this Srimad Bhagavatam. He wants us to relish this Srimad Bhagavatam. He wants us to imbibe this from the bona fide spiritual master, and he wants us to engage our all senses in the pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service to Krishna. So this was Krishna's plan. And Parikshit Maharaj was such a pure devotee, and Samika Rishi is another pure devotee. So Krishna uses only his pure devotees for any of his plan to get executed. Just like he used the Arjuna for the Kurukshetra war. So for every plan of Krishna is always executed by the devotees of Lord Krishna. That is why in the earlier time, all the Rajas were Raja Rishis. They were devotees of Krishna like Janak Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, you name it and you have got it. Lots and lots of emperors, they are all Krishna's devotees because Krishna want to see the welfare of one and all on this material plane, and he uses his devotees, putting his devotees in those prominent places so that everybody would be benefited, because only his devotee knows how to benefit everybody even in the future. Now, Parikshit Maharaj has benefited not only those present at that time on this particular material world in this Bhuloka, but also even today we are being saved, and the future generation will also be saved because of the Parikshit Maharaj. So this is the power of, devotee. And devotees are more empowered than Lord himself by the Lord out of affection. So in this way, Krishna will give all the credit to the devotees, use the devotees only for taking care of all other living entities, those who are inclined and those who are not inclined, to make them inclined. So in this way, Krishna is very kind to everyone, and his devotees are very special to him. He is always taking care of his devotees all the time, in all the places, at all circumstances and space and time. And then he uses them for welfare of all others, those who have not surrendered to Krishna. So today we have received this Srimad Bhagavatam. We are seeing the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Leela of Bhagavatam coming, and the person who is involved in the Leela, he himself is in the Bhagavatam performing the Leela of Krishna. These two pure devotees, they are encountering in such an awkward situation. So this is also part of the Leela of Krishna. So it's a very beautiful stanzas. So let's go to the next verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canton, chapter 18, verse 28. Aladhatrana bhumyadhir
Alabdhatritya
asampraptarghya sunrita
Asampraptarghya sunrita
avajñatam yivatmanam
avajñatam ivatmanam
manyamanascha kopachaha
Manyamanasya kopaha
alabdhatrana bhumyadhir
Alabdhatrina
alabdhatrana
bhumyati
asampraptarghya sunrita
asampraptarghya sunrita
Asampraptarghya
avajñatam yivatmanam
avajñatam
avagatam
ivatmanam
ivatmanam
manyamanascha kopaha
manyamanasya kopaha
alabdhatrana bhumyadhir
alabdhatrina bhumyati
asampraptarghya sunrita
asampraptarghya
asampraptarghya sunrita
avajñatam yivatmanam
avagatam
avajñatam
ivatmanam
manyamanascha kopaha.
manyamanasya kopaha.
Now on the side also.
alabdhatrina bhumyade
Alabdhatrana bhumyadhir
asampraptarghya sunrita
asampraptarghya sunrita
avajñatam ivatmanam
avajñatam yivatmanam
Avajatmanam
manyamanasya kopaha
manyamanascha
kopaha.
kopaha. Synonyms: alabdha, having not received;
Alabdha, having not received;
trina, seat of straw;
trina, seat of a straw;
bhumi, place;
bhumi, place;
adi, and so on.
adi, and so on.
Asamprapta, not properly received.
Asamprapta, not properly received.
Argya, water for reception.
Arghya, water for reception.
Sunratha, sweet words.
Tuntra, sweet words.
Avajnatam, thus being neglected.
Avadhyatam, thus being neglected.
Eva, like that.
Eva, like that.
Atmanam, personally.
Atmanam, personally.
Manyamana, thinking like that.
Manyamana, thinking like that.
Chukopa, became angry.
Chukopa, became angry.
In that way.
In that way.
Translation, please repeat after me. The king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses.
The king
The king not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses.
Considered himself neglected.
Considered himself neglected.
And so thinking, he became angry.
And so thinking, he became angry.
Purport.
The law of reception in the course of the Vedic principles states that if an enemy is received at home, he must be received with all respect. He should not be given a chance to understand that he has come into the house of an enemy. When Lord Krishna, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, approached Jarasandha in Magadha, the respectable enemies were given a royal reception by King Jarasandha. The guest enemy, namely Bhima, was to fight with Jarasandha, and yet they were given a grand reception. At night, they used to sit down together as friends and guests. And in the day, they used to fight, risking life and death. That was the law of reception. Reception law enjoins that a poor man who has nothing to offer his guest should be good enough to offer a straw mat for sitting, a glass of water for drinking, and some sweet words. Therefore, to receive a guest, either friend or foe, there is no expense. It is only a question of good manners. When Maharaja Parikshit entered the door of Samika Rishi, he did not expect a royal reception by the Rishi because he knew that saints and rishis are not materially rich men. But he never expected that a seat of straw or a glass of water and some sweet words would be denied to him. He was not an ordinary guest, nor was he an enemy of the Rishi, and therefore the cold reception by the Rishi astonished the king greatly. As a matter of fact, the king was right to get angry with the Rishi when he needed a glass of water very badly. To become angry in such a great situation was not unnatural for the king, but because the king himself was not less than a great son, his becoming angry and taking action were astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was so ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. The king was a great devotee of the Lord, and the saint was also as good as the king. But by the will of the Lord, the circumstances were so created that they became ways to the king's becoming unattached to family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward positions for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence. But outwardly the situations appear to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord are always under the protection of the Lord, and in any condition, frustration, or success, the Lord is the supreme guide for the devotees. The pure devotees, therefore, accept all conditions of frustration as blessings from the Lord.
Hari Om Tat Sat. So this is a very beautiful purport that Prabhupada, that is why we need the Acharya Parampara to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam texts. Because of our conditioned state, though we are practicing Krishna consciousness and trying to become a devotee of Krishna under the bona fide spiritual masters by His mercy, still we need them to understand the context in which these happenings are there, because we have only experience of karma, law of karma, only our experience, our knowledge, everything. But here, there is no karma happening here. This is Bhagavatam. It's full of transcendental. Every activity is transcendental because it is in connection with the Lord or by the desire of the Lord, for the Lord, by the devotees. These are all happening for the welfare of all conditioned souls. So this is not to be taken as an incident, just an ordinary incident. No, there was no history, nor there will be one such incident that can happen ever. So this is a special arrangement by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, out of his affection towards his devotee and out of his kindness towards all other fallen conditioned souls. So this is not at all ordinary. Akam, Arjuna, Bhima, everybody, is used by Krishna as his personal instrument to fulfill his own desire. In fact, the whole Pancha Pandavas have come here only to serve Krishna. They have not come here to establish a parampara of their own, what is it called? Establish their family tradition. No, they have come to serve Krishna. And as soon as Krishna wound up, they also wound up. And again, when Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, all Pancha Pandava again appeared in the Ramananda Raya, Bhavananda Raya's son. Bhavananda was Pandu. So all the five Pandavas again appeared to serve Krishna. So in every Leela of Krishna, they will come, they will serve him, and they will go back. So this is the natural position, constitutional position of a devotee. They will always be found in the service of Krishna. Thousands of times you can bring them here. They will come here for Krishna. That is not called falling. That is called descending. That is called eternally situated in the devotional service of Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj, Pandavas, Arjuna, all of them are on that particular plane only. They are never separated from Krishna. And Krishna is taking care of them every moment, everywhere, at all time, in all circumstances and situation. So they have nothing to fear or worry. That's the reason Kunti Maharani in her prayers has asked, please give me more and more calamities, or these calamities may come back again and again. For when there is a calamity, we can remember you more intensely, more seriously, and we can become more close to you. And you will also be more happy. We will also be more happy. So give us more calamities. Who will ask other than devotees, you tell me? So because they understand the stages, so they take any kind of awkward situation or suffering or a frustrated situation. If the devotee is put in, the devotee accept this as a blessing of Krishna. So this is very important lesson to learn. Those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, because we have practicing Krishna consciousness under the bona fide spiritual master, Srila Jayapataka Guru Maharaj, in our case, our situations in our life, whether it is frustration or disturbing, do not take it as a karma. Do not take it as an ordinary situation. This is very by the will of the Lord. Accept it as a blessing. The Lord is thinking of you after all. Is directly creating some situation for you so that he can use you as an instrument, or he can qualify you to be used as an instrument in his pastime. So these are greater benedictions, So we should be very fortunate to have such situation. Otherwise, this material world anyway is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Everybody is suffering, everybody is frustrated, but their frustration and suffering has nothing to do with Krishna. But a devotee suffering and frustration is blissful even for the devotee and Krishna, because Krishna is going to do very wonderful thing for all through these devotees. So one should be very fortunate enough to be placed in such a providential will of Krishna to be in any situation, any awkward position. We should accept as a blessing and continue to serve Krishna and never deviate from Krishna's thing. Now here Parikshit Maharaj is placed. Not only it is beneficiary to Parikshit Maharaj, but also it is beneficiary to the whole world. Parikshit Maharaj could immediately detach himself because Krishna is wound up. Now what are you going to do here? Come on, come out, give me next service. So Parikshit Maharaj has to wind up immediately, and he has to give the Srimad Bhagavatam to save the entire Kali Yuga world. Why he should live for another few years and save only the person who were living during the time of Parikshit Maharaj? He wanted to, rather he gives up his the remaining life, but save the whole future life of all the Kali Yuga people. These things are not at all ordinary, you know. This completely by the mercy and blessings of Krishna it happens. And this is how Krishna shows his kindness to everyone and affection to his devotees especially. Very favorite, very favorable. Thank you very much. So any questions or comments or realization you can share with us? Priti Rupini.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
While I was reading, like we were going through these verses, I was remembering Canto 1, Chapter 9 also, when Bhishma Dev was on a deathbed and the arrow bed, and that time Krishna asked him to give the knowledge about how to rule to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And that time also, like, so I was just realizing, like, seeing our Guru Maharaj also, if we are not reading Bhagavatam as a person, if we see his physical condition, and we don't understand that. And even as a devotee, if we are reading Bhagavatam, if we are not understanding it properly, we are not able to correlate like what is going in our life with Guru Maharaj and everything. But really like that when the way you are explaining, you can correlate like whatever is happening, that is Krishna's will, rather than people saying other things like he went because of karma and all. This law of karma, I have heard like even other devotees. But after reading Bhagavatam, the way you say this law of karma is not for devotees. Like Krishna is himself taking care of each and every devotee. And like the way we are seeing Guru Maharaj, we see as a normal person only. But if we don't read Bhagavatam, we think something else. So this Bhagavatam is giving so much of knowledge, and in our practically how we are implementing and thinking, that is changing this Bhagavatam when we are reading it. And we are so fortunate that you are giving this lecture, you are making us this understand, because even I have seen people reading Bhagavatam, they won't understand this. So as a devotee, so that was one realization that I wanted to share.
Superb, superb, superb. I was expecting. Very nice, very wonderful. So we are very fortunate at the lotus feet of Jayapada Swami Guru Maharaj to experience all this understanding properly and, experience this blissfulness, association of Lord Krishna by Guru Maharaj's mercy. Thank you very much. So if there is no further questions, let's wind up and resume our class on Monday. Till then, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
जय हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी इसमें दिया है हमारे भौतिक मन तथा शरीर जीव अर्थात आत्मा से विकसित होते हैं और हम पदार्थ के 3 गुणों के प्रभाव में आकर अपनी असली पहचान को भूल जाते हैं। ये पदार्थ की 3 कौन सी गुण है जिसके चलते हम अपनी असली पहचान को भूल जाते हैं?
सत्वगुण, रजोगुण, तमोगुण।
तो प्रभु सत्वगुण अगर है तो कैसे भूल जाएंगे? रजोगुण और तमोगुण से तो भूल सकते हैं।
सत्वगुण भी भूल जाएगा। सत्वगुण भी जो है वो भौतिक है, शुद्ध सत्व में नहीं भूलता है आदमी।
अच्छा,
शुद्ध सत्व, सत्वगुण का 2 भाग है। एक है आध्यात्मिक का सत्वगुण जो शुद्ध सत्व बोलते हैं, वसुदैव प्लेटफॉर्म उसको बोलते हैं। और सत्वगुण जो है वो भौतिक के अंदर ही है, उसमें ज्ञान इतना रहता है, ये नहीं रहता है कि ये अपना क्या बोलते हैं उसको, भौतिक के अंदर अपना जगड़ जाता है ना, उससे मुक्ति लेने के लिए नहीं, लेकिन उसका इतना ध्यान रहता है क्या अच्छा है क्या बुरा है, हम ये शरीर नहीं है, इस तरह का ज्ञान तो रहता है। लेकिन भक्ति मार्ग का कुछ उपाय नहीं रहता, भक्ति मार्ग का जाने का उसको अवसर मिलता है सत्वगुण के अंदर। लेकिन
धन्यवाद।
सत्वगुण भी जो है वो कंडीशनड है। सत्वगुण जो है उससे वो भौतिक ही है, उससे बाहर निकलने का एक रास्ता, भौतिक गुणों से बाहर निकलने का एक रास्ता सत्वगुण है। सत्वगुण में प्रवेश करने के उपरांत उसको भक्तों के साथ संग लेना चाहिए, तब भक्ति करना चाहिए, तब जाके वो शुद्ध सत्व प्लेटफॉर्म में जाएगा, तब जाके वो ये बंध से मुक्त मिलेगा उसको।
धन्यवाद प्रभु। अब
थैंक यू।
प्रभु फिर इसमें नीचे है,
हम्म।
पदार्थ की अनुभूति की अवस्था को पार करने के बाद इंद्रियों की अधिक सूक्ष्म अवस्थाएं प्राप्त होती है। तो पदार्थ की अनुभूति की अवस्था पार करने के बाद ये कौन सी अनुभूति को पार किया जा सकता है, कैसे?
ये भौतिक कर्म और उसका जो रिजल्ट है उसको पार करने के बाद, जैसे कोई भी रिचुअल्स है, एक कुछ करेगा उसका फल एक मिलता है, तो ये एक किस्म का बंधन है। जब तक वो भक्ति को हाथ नहीं लगाएगा, भक्त का संग में नहीं आएगा, है वो कितना भी उसको सुख मिले, दुख फिर आएगा, सुख आएगा फिर दुख आएगा, फिर सुख आएगा फिर, इसलिए दुखालय मशाश्वतम कहलाया गया इधर।
धन्यवाद प्रभु।
तो ये पदार्थों को अपना इंद्रिय तृप्ति के लिए जब इस्तेमाल करेगा तो इस तरह सुख दुख को ही भोगना पड़ेगा। इसी पदार्थों को अनुभूति को आप जो है कृष्ण भगवान का सेवा में लगाएगा, उसको बोलते हैं भक्ति, डिवोशनल सर्विस। तब उसको ना तो सुख है ना दुख है, वो आनंद है। आनंद जो है सुख और दुख से उपरांत,
ऊपर है।
हाँ ऊपर है। तो इसलिए
यस।
हमें सुख नहीं चाहिए, हमें आनंद चाहिए। तो आनंद चाहिए तो सुख दुख वाले पदार्थों का और उसका अनुभूति को हम भगवान कृष्ण का सेवा में लगा देंगे तो हमें आनंद प्राप्त होता है। थैंक यू।
अब
बहुत
प्रभु
ही अच्छा
एक
विचार से
और बात,
सवाल।
एक और बात पूछना था प्रभु। आज तो
हम्म।
हम भक्ति शास्त्री क्लास नहीं अटेंड कर पाए प्रभु, यहाँ बहुत ठंडा है, आप हेल्थ इश्यू के चलते नहीं अटेंड कर पाए, तो क्या इस क्लास के बाद वो भक्ति शास्त्री वाला क्लास नहीं हो सकता है?
नहीं नहीं, क्योंकि वो ब्रह्मचारी लोग मंदिर में सेवा में जाना है ना, वो पूजा करना, भगवान का आरती करना है, तो इस तरह उनका पूरा पूजा का सेवा पूरा दिन सेवा में लगा रहते हैं। तो इसलिए वो बंगला आरती खत्म करने के बाद वो लोग आते हैं और 6 बजे से 7:30 तक जो है वो लोग करते हैं। आप बिस्तर के अंदर से कर सकते हो, कंबल उड़ के भी कर सकते हो भक्ति शास्त्री। आज का 6 से 7:30 तक खत्म हो गया और कल फिर सुबह 6 बजे होगा।
ठीक है प्रभु, धन्यवाद।
जाए। थैंक यू वेरी मच। सो विल resume our class on Monday. Till then, बंदरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय
पतित श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
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 वैष्णव प्रणाम। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। निताय
जय।
प्रेमानंदे।
हरि
हरे
हरि
हरे
बोल।
हरे हरे।